funeral anthem, please. Thank you very much. Please, we may have our seats. No, stay with me. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our pleasure once again to welcome you to the 94th inaugural lecture, which is to be delivered by no other person by Professor Shokoya. Can you please appreciate her? We have seated on this side of the hall the Vice Chancellor of our great university, ably represented by the DVC academics. Please, you will pardon me as a company I'm trying to learn. So, our able Vice Chancellor is Professor O.B. Kende. And is ably represented here by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Akinyemi. Seated to his left is the university bursar. Am I right? Yes, I think I'm right. Yes. And that is in the person of Mr. Oshunuga. And the university librarian, Dr. Sorry, pardon me. I'm trying to do the job that I have not done in a long while. That is Professor Owolabi. And beside him on his left is Professor Akewale, the chairman, CODAD. Coming back to this side, the right side of the acting Vice Chancellor in seat is the representative of the registrar, and that is Mrs. Acting Registrar. Sorry, please. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to sincerely apologize. You know the situation on ground. Please, if I commit impasse, please pardon me. The acting registrar of our university, Mrs. Daudu. And beside her is the director of AMBREC, where the inaugural lecture is. Please, can you? Yes, director of AMBREC, and that is in the person of Professor Olaoye. The program leader is seated beside him, and that is Dr. Bukola Idowu. And the college where the inaugural lecture of today is anchored is College of Food Science and Human Ecology. The dean of that college is Professor A.M. Omemo. The inaugural lecture of today is in the Department of Home Science and Management. And the head of that department is Professor Amobode. Please. Without wasting our time, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite the Vice Chancellor to take over proceeding from this stage. Thank you.
On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Olushola Babatunde Kehinde, I'd like to welcome you all to the 94th inaugural lecture of our great university, to be delivered by no other person other than Professor Grace Oluseyi Shokoya. And at this juncture, I'd like to invite the inaugural lecturer to please come beside me, stand and remain standing. The acting registrar, the bursar, the university librarian, Dean, College of Food Sciences and Human Ecology, Director, Agricultural Media Resources and Extension Center, other deans and directors here present, Head, Department of Home Science and Management, Head, Gender Issues and Youth Development Program, other heads of departments, programs and units, distinguished members of the University Senate, all academic and non-teaching staff, all special guests and friends of the university, members of the families and friends of the inaugural lecturer, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great Funabites. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 94th edition of the inaugural lecture series at the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria. Today's inaugural lecturer, Professor Grace Oluseyi Shokoya, was born on December 12, 1960, to the family of the late Reverend Canon Paul Akpaida and Mrs. Mercy O. Akpaida of Uneme Nekwa, Akoko Edo Local Government Area, Edo State, Nigeria. She had her primary education at the Christ Anglican Church Primary School, Igboruake, Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria, from 1966 to 1970, and her secondary education at Abeokuta Girls Grammar School, Onikolobo, Abeokuta, Ogun State, from January 1971 to June 1976. In May 1977, she enrolled as a student nurse at the School of Nursing State Hospital, Ijaye, Abeokuta, and qualified as a registered nurse in May 1980. She enrolled for a post-basic course in midwifery at the School of Midwifery, State Hospital, Ijebu-Ode, Ogun State, in March 1981. A few months before the completion of her midwifery education, she was admitted to the Department of Nursing at the College of Medical Sciences, University of Ibadan, in October 1981 for a Bachelor of Science degree in nursing education. Driven by a long-standing passion to become a university graduate nurse, she successfully navigated the few overlapping months and qualified as a registered midwife in March 1982. Professor Shokoya earned a Bachelor of Science in Nursing Education in 1984 and became a registered nurse educator. After completing a National Youth Service Corps in 1985, she enrolled for a master's degree in educational management at the University of Ibadan in 1986, graduating in 1987 with a specialization in educational planning and policy. Achieving an excellent grade, she immediately proceeded for a PhD degree program, which she completed in January 1990, specializing in institutional administration. Professor Shokoya is a member of the Nigerian Institute of Management. She won the first prize in the Young Managers Competition of the NIM Western Zone in 1992. She's a family planning care provider and a fellow of the prestigious West African College of Nursing. In her quest for a cognate PhD degree as a gender scholar, Professor Grace Olusheyi Shokoya embarked on a journey to South Africa in 2002 and earned a second PhD. In Gender and Family Studies from the University of Natal, Durban in 2003. Upon completion of this PhD program, she was awarded a postdoctoral fellowship in gender studies, during which she had the opportunity to publish journal articles from her thesis. Professor Grace Shokoya has a strong passion for her primary profession, nursing. Hence, she enrolled for a master's degree in nursing at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, South Africa, after completing a second doctorate. As she desired to ensure that her resume always reflected her currency as a professional nurse, she completed the master's program in nursing and graduated in 2005. Professor Olusheyi Shokoya worked briefly as a teacher at Mark Jobs School of Commerce, Onikolobo Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria, from October 1976 to May 1977. She joined the services of the Ogun State Ministry of Health as a student nurse in training in May 1977. Upon qualifying as a registered nurse in May 1980, she was deployed to work at the then Community Hospital, Iperu, now General Hospital, Iperu, until the commencement of her midwifery program. She proceeded to the University of Ibadan on study leave without pay for a BSc degree program and served as a nurse educator during her National Youth Service Corps at the Post-Basic School of Orthopedic Nursing, Igbobi, from August 1984 to July 1985. In August 1985, she returned to Ogun State as a clinical instructor and later as a nurse educator. Professor Shokoya transferred her services from the Ogun State Civil Service to the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, FUNAB, on December 1, 1995. Upon her appointment as an Extension Fellow 2, Women in Development, and a Pioneer Program Leader for the Women in Development at the Agricultural Media Resources and Extension Center, AMREC, FUNAB. As a Pioneer Program Leader of the program, she developed and supervised the implementation of the following innovative extension strategies. Number 1, girl-child education, grooming and developmental strategies. Number 2, gender-specific, gender-sensitive, and gender-inclusive youth development projects for boys and girls in FUNAB's catchment area, adopting the 4H approach. Number 3, gender-specific and gender-sensitive projects for female and male farmers, adult education and functional literacy programs focusing on women's empowerment health and wellness outreaches in rural communities, awareness campaigns, and capacity building projects on nutrition, education, and health. She rose through the ranks to become the first Professor of Gender and Family Studies in the Department of Home Science and Management, College of Food Science and Human Ecology on October 1, 2001. The university has benefited from a series of externally funded projects. Professor Grace Shokoya coordinated 7 such projects between 2004 and 2024. Through one of our projects, PEPFAR USG HIV/AIDS awareness and capacity building projects for FUNAB staff and students, the university established a voluntary counseling and neighborhood. Along with our team members, she developed a training manual for peer educators on STIs, HIV/AIDS in 2006. Between 2013 and 2019, Professor Grace Shokoya functioned as a communication focal person, extension expert on the Funaba ITA Cassava Weed Management Project. The inaugural lecturer has had many special assignments in the university, such as she was the chairperson of the FUNAB Gender Policy Drafting Committee, and along with her team, she produced the first draft of the university's gender policy in 2014. She served as director of the Students' Industrial Work Experience Scheme for 5 years and produced 2 publications upon completion of her tenure. Professor Grace Shokoya is a gender scholar who started as a professional nurse, stroke midwife, educator, educational manager, institutional policies developer, community health extensionist, and now a professor of gender and family studies. Our research is interdisciplinary with a focus on gender, health, agricultural extension, and family studies. She has contributed numerous publications in learned journals, refereed conference proceedings, technical reports books, chapters in books, keynote addresses, and lead papers at conferences, seminars, and workshops in many fields. She is currently anchored at the Department of Home Science and Management, where she carries out teaching and supervision of students' projects. To date, she has supervised over 100 undergraduate projects, 9 master's dissertations, and 5 PhD theses. Professor Grace Shokoya has conducted external examinations in Nigerian universities and at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Durban, South Africa. She has also participated in the accreditation of programs in some Nigerian universities for the National Universities Commission, Nigeria. Our inaugural lecturer of today is the visionary of the Family Resources and Youth Foundation International, a non-governmental organization committed to the development of the family and youth. Some of our major co-curricular activities include project development, fashion designing, and herbology. The inaugural lecturer is blessed with children and grandchildren. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, Professor Olushola Batunde-Kehinde, to invite Professor Grace Shokoya from the Department of Home Science and Management, College of Food Science and Human Ecology, also of the Agricultural Media Resources and Extension Center, to present the 94th inaugural lecture titled Afrocentric and Gender Constructions of Psychological Well-Being in Families, the Sojourn of a Gender Scholar. Thank you for your attention, and God bless you all.
The Vice Chancellor. ably represented today by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic in his own right, Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, the Acting Registrar, the Bursar, the University Librarian, Dean, College of Food Science and Human Ecology, Director, Agricultural Media Resources and Extension Center, other deans and directors, Head, Department of Home Science and Management, Head, Gender Issues and Youth Development Program, other heads of departments, distinguished members of the University Senate, my academic and professional colleagues, all special guests and friends of the university, members of my immediate and extended families and friends, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great nurses, great Funabites, the Vice Chancellor, sir, it is with great joy and gratitude to God Almighty that I stand before this audience today. I feel highly privileged to be the 94th inaugural lecturer of our noble university and to present my research experience and contributions to knowledge as a health professional and extension fellow working with farm families in southwestern Nigeria and my sojourn as a gender scholar. I give all the glory, honor, and adoration to God for this great privilege. Today's inaugural lecture is significant, being the 8th in the College of Food Science and Human Ecology, the 3rd in the Department of Home Science and Management, the 2nd in Agricultural Media Resources and Extension Center, and the 1st in the field of Gender and Family Studies, FUNA. Today, the scripture that echoes in my spirit is Zechariah 4, verse 10. Who with reason despises the day of small things? For these 7 shall rejoice when they are the plume in the hand of Zerubbabel. These 7 are the eyes of the Lord, which run to and fro throughout the whole earth. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I'm sure it would interest this audience to know that nursing is my first love and primary profession. Part of my initial challenges on assumption of duty in AMREC was the need to learn, to grow, and to prove the worth of what a nurse is doing in the University of Agriculture. To the glory of God, he has proved his faithfulness over these 29 years since I joined the services of this university. The rest is a glorious history today. Little wonder the decision to embark on the journey was born out of my passion for the nursing profession. The topic of today's inaugural lecture is informed by my experiences personally and through my interactions with farm families when I embarked on the journey to explore how sociocultural and gender dynamics shape their psychological well-being and overall health. In the process of a critical review of existing literature, I discovered the dominance of Western-centric theories and realized the need to reflect African voices and experiences. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, I titled my inaugural lecture, Afrocentric and Gendered Constructions of Psychological Well-Being in Families, the sojourn of a gender scholar. My journey of exploring Afrocentric and gendered constructions of psychological well-being in families is a continuous process of learning, unlearning, and dialogue that has been challenging and rewarding at the same time. It is a journey of collaboration, reflexivity, and solidarity with the communities I study as I work together with them to challenge stereotypes, dismantle inequalities, and create pathways towards greater gender justice and well-being of all. Today, gender roles are evolving with more emphasis on equality and shared responsibilities within families. Families that successfully adapt to these changes may experience greater stability and cohesion. In farm families, gendered constructions of psychological well-being are deeply intertwined with traditional roles, labor division, and cultural expectations. Men often bear the primary responsibility for farm management and providing for the family, which can lead to stress, pressure to succeed, and concerns about financial stability. And these demands and social-cultural expectations have implications on their psychological well-being. On the other hand, women in farm families are confronted very often with challenges related to workload, balancing multiple responsibilities and limited autonomy in decision-making, all of which can impact their psychological well-being. Addressing gendered constructions of psychological well-being in farm families requires acknowledging and challenging rigid traditional gender norms, providing support for both men and women to prioritize their mental health needs, and promoting open communication about emotions and stressors within the family unit. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, kindly permit me to conceptualize the pertinent concepts in today's inaugural lecture and set the lecture in perspective. Afrocentric is a perspective that emphasizes and celebrates African culture and history. Gender refers to the socially constructed 8 of such mechanisms are being implemented. Paramount and highly innovative among these 8 institutional mechanisms is the Farm Family Health and Care Scheme. My sojourn as a gender scholar is a sojourn spanning through 47 years. I was in the Ogun State Civil Service for 18 years and I transferred to FUNAB. And this is my 29th year in FUNAB. I had to shift from quantitative research methodologies and embrace qualitative research methods. This much required shift was premised on the fact that qualitative methods offer distinct advantages in gender research, making them uniquely suited to exploring the complex and nuanced issues related to gender. I mostly adopted the qualitative comparative analysis, QCA, which is also called the mixed method. I was able to uncover rich narratives that highlight the interconnectedness of gender and psychological well-being from socio-cultural perspectives. In Shokoya 2003, I observed that there are more similarities than differences in my personal experiences and the life experiences of my research participants, as revealed from their personal life histories. Shokoya 2006 highlighted some factors that influence psychological well-being: peace at home and at work, and others. The study revealed that psychological well-being and gender role fulfillment are interdependent. Self-reflexivity in gender research is a process of scrutiny whereby researchers reflect on how assumptions, biases, approaches, and presence affect research, and critically interrogate how research efforts will be influenced by the contradictions and paradoxes that form their lives. On this sojourn, I need to confess that I encountered challenges and complexities grappled with my own positionality as an African gender scholar by acknowledging my privilege and biases as a researcher. I also experienced dilemmas in contending with the ideologies of oppression, subordination, and subjugation of women while interpreting my research findings. Western feminism tends to focus more on gender-based discrimination, while on the other hand, Afrocentric feminism places greater emphasis on the intersection of race, gender, and colonial histories. Even though we contend with these ideologies in African families, it is quite interesting from my findings that none of my research participants use these words in their narratives. In addition, I never had either my mom or her mom use these words in the description of their life experiences. Reflexively, I remember finding myself in the shoes of these women in 2007 when one of my sons challenged me regarding why I condone subordination. He exclaimed, "Mommy, you mean you enjoy subordination?" My response to him was that I don't feel subordinated, but rather I enjoy it. Yes, we then both laughed hilariously. Sons and male children in the house. Can you remember how often you have asked similar questions in your minds out of pity for your moms regarding what they go through? Wives and moms in the house, are we here? How do we express our experiences? I'm sure all women here have unique stories to tell. Though many of us experience these things, we don't describe them appropriately due to our socialization and the socio-cultural constructions of our gender roles. Another truth I want to confront us with today is that not saying and saying it as it is has negative impacts on our psychological well-being. Chukwu 2003 observed the problems associated with the socio-cultural constructions of gender and ideological representations of gender roles to include patriarchy, amongst other things. In 2006, I argued that if the root of the problems of women's subordination and male domination lies in the problems identified above, it is crucial to develop feminist approaches to address the origins and foundations of these problems. Although there are no variations in the overall incidence of psychopathology, certain mental disorders are commonly diagnosed in women than men. Women are more frequently diagnosed with internalizing disorders such as depression and anxiety, while the men are diagnosed more commonly with externalizing disorders such as substance abuse disorders and antisocial personality disorders. From this standpoint, let me be upfront in my self-reflexive positionality as a female African gender scholar. Story. Today's inaugural lecture is a testimony of some untold stories that birth courage, resilience, self-confidence, and optimum psychological well-being in me. My life trajectory is that of a girl child with Edo descent, Yoruba by birth, the first of 3 daughters and second of 7 children, born and raised in the vicarage and Yoruba by marriage. It is that of a 21-year-old daughter of a clergyman who fell in love with a 40-year-old man with 7 previous children. As parents, you do not want to imagine the dilemma that my parents had to contend with before they eventually consented to my decision and choice. I refer to the comment passed a few years ago by one of my biological children regarding an issue which might have been bothering for long. He said, "Mommy, you married a man with 7 children. Don't do it again." Through this trajectory and the interplay between my gender roles as a daughter, wife, mother, and career woman relative to my gender role socialization and social representations of womanhood, my experiences are apparently relevant to the issues under consideration. Remember what I said about self-reflexivity. As a gender scholar, you have to be open. Having to function within these multiple role frameworks, I sometimes felt overwhelmed. Consequently, just like other women across the globe in Africa and the families that I work with, the fulfillment or non-fulfillment of these roles, obligations and responsibilities influence my psychological well-being. Although it has been daunting and quite challenging to navigate the multiple roles, especially within a socio-cultural context, the sojourn has been quite rewarding. God helped that naive 21-year-old girl to become a fulfilled mother of 7 stepchildren, a blessed mother of 4 biological children, and grandmother of many grandchildren across the globe. Picture speaks. Today, to the glory of God Almighty, those children we have some of them here today, including my own biological children, have grown into accomplished men and women in various professions. From these young ones to these great guys, family men and women in the disciplines of law, IT, nursing, medicine, education, architecture, engineering, international business, still counting. Things do happen. And the scripture says in Romans 8:28, I read from the Amplified, that, and we know with great confidence that God, who is deeply concerned about us, causes all things to work together as a plan for good for those who love God, to those who are called according to his plan and purpose. Ultimately, and to the glory of God, through it all, our God has been very faithful, and his grace has been sufficient for us. Shokoya 2003 identified different determinants of psychological well-being among parents and children in farm families. Shokoya 2003 and 2006 described how the Yorubas construct their psychological well-being as a condition of healthy well-being of the soul. Ìlera ọkàn and àlàáfíà ọkàn. Peace of mind, ìfọkànbalẹ̀. Happiness, ìdùnnú, and contentment with life, ìtẹ́lọ́rùn. It was discovered that unlike Western and or Westernized women, African rural women use smart, innovative, and non-confessional strategies to express their experiences of oppression, subordination, and subjugation. Some of these strategies are here listed: community, belonging, and storytelling. Story, oh. Shokoya et al., 2005, while exploring the Afrocentric and gendered constructions of psychological well-being in rural families, discovered gender-based differences in the factors influencing psychological well-being. There were also differences in the determinants of psychological well-being between parents and their children. Psychological well-being of children in farm families were influenced by these 9 factors: freedom of movement, passing exams, accomplish difficult tasks, parental praise, amongst others. Factors that influence parents' psychological well-being include goal achievement, spousal support, availability of food in the house, marital stability, amongst others. These findings on determinants of psychological well-being of parents are closely linked to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which situates human needs in a pyramidal structure as shown in the diagram, with basic needs at the bottom and high-level needs at the top. Shokoya et al., 2005, discovered that although there were variations regarding the extent to which men who fulfilled their obligation, the men and women studied have internalized the ideological representations of their breadwinning roles. Findings of the study also revealed the feminization of domestic roles in farm families. We have seen this figure before, and we are contending with men having more than enough time for rest, regulation, and leisure, while the woman always have this luxury. Mutukrisha et al., that's my South African PhD supervisor, with me and another supervisee, explored the intersectionality of gender disability and feminization of poverty amongst 10 disabled women in the KwaZulu-Natal region of South Africa. We discovered that the disabled woman is marginalized and confronted with the realities of triple jeopardy of being a female, of being disabled, and being unfortunate to be living in a developing nation, as shown in this diagram. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, it is very interesting to know that women, even when aware of their disadvantaged position, suppress their experiences and don't want to talk about it. We don't talk about it. It's a phrase I often hear. Do you talk about yours? Do you? Okay. A gender analysis of experiences of survivors of the Rwanda genocide conducted by Shokoya et al. 2004 revealed that women often suppress their emotions and experiences. In Shokoya 2004, while exploring the influence of marital dynamics on the psychological well-being of farm families, discovered that marital stability and couple psychological well-being are influenced by these factors. A male participant who happens to be a traditional ruler, an enlightened one, highly educated, shared his personal experiences of how he appreciates his wife's frankness and open communication. According to him, when couples communicate frankly with each other, peace and harmony will abound in the home. In his words, I love my wife, not because she's pretty, but more importantly, because she's very blunt. She criticizes me bluntly, not minding traditional and cultural expressions when I go wrong. She doesn't spare me. Because of this, I checkmate myself most of the time. Corroborating the above, the Olori also shared one of the frank discussions between herself and Kabiyesi a few weeks prior to his enthronement. According to her, she had decided on what she would do to keep herself busy when they moved from Lagos to the rural setting. She said, rather than keep mute and stay idle in the palace, as many wives of traditional rulers do, I chose to speak out my mind. She did not internalize it. The Olori communicated her desires to Kabiyesi and frankly asked about his plans post-enthronement. In her words, so the time I gave him was up. I then asked, man, what do you want to do? I'm off to work. He said, I'm a farmer. I said, a farmer indeed. Have you ever done it in your life? Do you know what it is to farm? Can you till the land? Do you know the rudiments of farming? He responded, leave me alone. I will do it. And he actually did. These shared experiences confirm that openness and frankness in marital relationships can enhance marital stability, which consequently fosters psychological well-being in families. All husbands in the study want their wives to be obedient, supportive, and take care of the children. The husbands believe that when their wives prepare good food for them timely, there will be minimal conflicts in the home and all parties will be peaceful. One of the husbands said, the way to our hearts is through our stomach. Is that true? Okay. If a wife doesn't prepare food on time, the husband will be angry. But if he comes home and finds a well-prepared meal, he's happy. He takes his bath, eats, tunes his radio, sings and dances. There won't be any argument. Is that true? Many men in the study and in this hall agree with this view, that the way to their hearts is really through their stomachs, though not anatomically. The heart here is the mentalistic organ, and the psyche. The wives, on the other hand, desire to be loved by their husbands, and they are more particular about companionship, acceptance, support, and appreciation. Power dynamics in family decision-making is another determinant of psychological well-being in families. While the men said that they are responsible for family decision-making, the women believe that they are equally involved in decision-making. The traditional men believe that ibita afishori akifitele. It was, however, observed ibita afishori wakifitele means that decision-making is a function of the head as the vital center. Nobody works with the head. It was, however, discovered that the educated men in the study believe that wives should also participate in family decision-making. Only a few of the women agree that their husbands take the major decisions. Many of the women claim to be active participants in family decision-making. One of the women expressed how she gains control and participates in family decision-making. She said, although she agrees that wives should be submissive and obedient to their husbands, there are always ways she could influence family decision-making without the husband feeling threatened or out of control. According to her, who says they are in charge? We make decisions. Her husbands take them and claim responsibility. I don't really think that men are in charge. I'm quoting one of the rural women. She said, it is good to give them the feeling that they are in charge. But what really happens is that if you relate very well with them with wisdom and humility, you will be making the decisions while your husband takes them and takes responsibility. This assertion suggests that women could wield a lot of power and influence family decision making. Overall, my research into Afrocentric and gendered constructions of psychological well-being in farm families opened a wide space for family research in rural psychology and in agricultural extension, with the major themes shown in this figure emerging as determinants of psychological well-being in families. And prominent among these 12 factors are good health, peace, harmonious marital relationships, social connectedness, amongst others. There is something that enhances our social connected in our families. And one of the factors, Mr. Vice Chancellor said of sir, on a lighter mood, permit me to add that as we can see here today, the Ashwabi syndrome also enhances our psychological well-being. Findings of these studies have several implications for agricultural extension, management, and research. Farm families have inherent potentials in form of strengths and opportunities. Contributions to knowledge in project development and management. The inspiration for my first book was drawn from my first doctorate, while the inspiration for my second book was drawn from the love for my primary profession. As the Vice Chancellor already highlighted, I was opportune to lead many funded projects in universities, and some of these projects birthed publications. These are some of the publications. As CWES Director, I was able to produce these publications at the end of my tenure. As Pioneer Program Leader, I was able to develop and supervise innovative strategies. The Total Woman is one of the publications I was opportune to co-publish as part of my community service in the Anglican Youth Fellowship Nigeria. And during my recent sojourn in the USA, I also provided community services and Grammar G roles. This figure summarizes my sojourn as a gender scholar and what a nurse is doing in the University of Agriculture. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, in conclusion, I have been able to challenge the Western-centric and essentialist views surrounding gender ideologies and psychological well-being. My findings show that determinants of psychological well-being differ among men, women, and children. My sojourn as a gender scholar is an ongoing process. I intend to do this in the near future. Intentional parenting, studies in this area as an investment in psychological well-being of parents in old age. Why many career women experience challenging, unstable, and unfulfilled marital relationships. Utilization of natural remedies for optimum health, healing, and longevity. Recommendations. My recommendations are summarized in this recommendation 3. Investment in girl child. Investment in AMREC UNAP to fulfill the university's extension mandates, amongst others. Let me mention the need for intentional parenting and nurturing of boy children. We concentrate too much on developing the girl child in churches, in mosques, in the society. Nobody concentrates on the development of the boy child. And we expect a miracle to happen for them to be responsible husbands and children. It doesn't work like that. I have a counsel for family, which is one of the recommendations. Don't internalize it to our women. Take care of yourself, pamper yourself, eat good meals. To our men, deal with the women in your lives peacefully. Listen to them. Finally, to husbands and wives, I leave you with the wisdom shared by Apostle Paul in Ephesians 5:21. Submitting yourselves one to another in the fear of God. Acknowledgements. My first PhD supervisor is here. Sir, Dr. Adedayo Ajayi, I appreciate your presence here today and all the love you showered on me, personal library. With Mommy Ajayi of blessed memory, opening up your home to our family and many attempts to your dining. Thank you, sir. Professor Sniti Muthukrishna and Steve Collins jointly supervised my second PhD in South Africa. I appreciate the past vice chancellors of this noble university. Professor Nuruddin Adedipe, Professor Julius Okogie advised me when I assumed duty to integrate my health professional background into my research. This council greatly encouraged me and provided the required motivation to adopt interdisciplinary approaches in my research and publications, as evident in who I have become and still becoming. Professor Israel Folorunsho Adu, Professor Ishola Adamson. I'm particularly grateful to Professor Oluwafemi Balogun, during whose tenure I became a professor in 2011. Professor Ololade Niku Omeyin, Professor Olushola Bamidele Oyewole. Thank you, sir, for the support I enjoyed during your tenure. I'm sure he's watching online. For the opportunity you gave me to serve as Senior Director for 5 years and encouragement towards my career development all the way. The immediate past Vice Chancellor, Professor Felix Olawole Salako, I appreciate your support and encouragement, sir, all the way. Professor Olushola Babatunde Kehinde, I appreciate all your kind gestures and the opportunity granted me to deliver this lecture. Thank you, sir. I appreciate other principal officers of the university. My dear brother, Professor Oluwalano, Brother Sam, is a worthy instrument of God in order to come into this system. Since then, and up till now, you can see him seated with the projectors. He has been a great encourager, playing multiple roles in my life as a brother and mentor. Thank you, sir. Professor S.K.T. Williams. Professor Peter Adebola Okuneye was my unique, selfless, great mentor and encourager. It is sad that he departed to glory too soon. Prof, sir, and your amiable wife, Mommy Okuneye, I'm very grateful to you both for your love and labor of love and worthy investments in my career. I acknowledge the encouragement and support received from my mentors, bosses, and senior colleagues. All of you as listed. I thank you, sirs, for taking time out to come and honor me today. God will honor you. I appreciate the leadership and support received from the CWES chairpersons and deputy vice chancellors academic during my tenure. All my teammates, team members in the CWES directorate, I appreciate you all. I appreciate the directors of ITF that I worked with and their representatives here today. My director, Bajay, I thank you for your support and your love and encouragement. I acknowledge my dean, my HOD, my program leader, previous deans and directors of the college, my head of department. Thank you for your support. My colleagues, great nurses, all nurses here, I appreciate you all. Comrades, I appreciate the support of the chairman, ASU UNAB, Dr. Oluwagbemigi Adeleye. I thank all my friends and colleagues and close associates in FUNAB. I want to especially acknowledge Professor Kazim Bello for his crucial role, especially in coordinating my rehearsals. I acknowledge all my friends in the diaspora. I acknowledge representatives of AGGS here today, the principal and schools, my classmates, my seniors. Thank you for coming. I want to particularly appreciate Mrs. Olunike Okubanjo for her mentoring and nurturing roles to date, for adopting me as a younger sister from another mother, for believing in me, always showering me with love, and always bringing the best out of me. Thank you. This is my inaugural lecture gift from her. Fellows of the distinguished West African College of Nursing, thank you for coming. All my former students, back while I was a nurse educator, and here in FUNAB, I appreciate you all, both here and online. I appreciate all my friends. For my parents and encouragers in faith, as listed, I appreciate you. Baba Kinto, thank you, sir, for coming. Pastor Etin and Pastor Mrs. Oyenike Basi, my daddy and mommy, Reverend Olushola and Reverend Oyenike Areogun, here represented today here by Pastor Rufus of the Dream Center of Lighthouses International. Thank you for coming. I appreciate my senior Honorable Justice Musmola Dikpeolu, Board of Trustees, Tri-Found, and my community members. Thank you. I thank the Publishers Committee for their time and valuable input to bring the best out of this lecture, especially Professor Helen Bodunde, Chairperson. I appreciate Professor Remio Durajola for her love and professional input as she edited painstakingly the manuscript. I also appreciate Team Grace as listed. I thank God for all helps around me. I appreciate my students and academic children as listed for your valuable inputs. I appreciate this entire Shokoya Kakanfo family for your love and support all the way. My special appreciation also goes to the Onofuwas and Akinyemis. I appreciate my parents-in-laws, our in-laws, and their representation here today. My admirers and friends in Shagamu and across the globe, my nieces and nephews. Special thanks go to my parents, Reverend Canon Paul and Mrs. Mercy Akwaida, for giving me a quality upbringing, raising me in the ways of the Lord, all their labor of love, investing in my education and career, giving me the name Grace. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Mama. I thank God my mom is here today. Mama Akwaida and company, as my children fondly call you. Thank you, Ma. Especially for being my ever-present caregiver while raising all my children. My late aunt, Mrs. Christiana Atitebi, of blessed memory, I remember you always and appreciate your counsel and prophecy and encouragement to become a nurse and end up in university. Grandpa Titebi, I know you are online, Robimbo. My cousins, Tolulope Amao and Muiwa Titebi, here present. My senior cousin, like my daddy, of blessed memory. And my uncle and big brother, Sadayo Alabi. Thank you, sir. He's here with his wife, Lady Fumi Alavi. I appreciate all my siblings. My elder brother, they are all here. I appreciate my elder brother, Mr. Andrew Akwaida, our leader in the team. The story of my academic journey will be incomplete without the due acknowledgement and recognition of the lover boy of that 21-year-old girl and father of all my children, Chief Builder Emmanuel Olushanu Shokoya. I deeply appreciate how you encouraged and supported my dreams and strides all the way. Daddy Shoki, thank you, sir. I appreciate all my children. My dear Boli, Dr. Bola Oshokoya, thank you for your labor of love and your great foresight. Oluwaseun Shokoya is here. Oluwatosin is here with her family. All others are watching online. I received a surprise this afternoon. Mosumoluwa and my children have been encouraging me to wait till next summer before doing this so that they can come. I said I needed to do it. They sponsored the project, and to my surprise, while I was dressing up this evening, Princess Adesoya, my mother-in-law, brought an emergency guest to me. Guess who? Baba told me, can you start off for recognition? That's the husband of my baby girl, Mosomoluwa Shokoya. He arrived unannounced from Arizona. Thank you for the honor. Olufunto and Oblubayo Akiyemi. I appreciate all my children in love and all my grandchildren. I pray that you will all fulfill your purpose in destiny in Jesus' name. Concerning you all, your lives are evidences of God's faithfulness to his promise that we shall be signs and wonders across the globe. For you all and everyone that calls me mother across the globe, I pray that you shall be taught of the Lord and you shall be his disciples, and your peace and prosperity shall be great in Jesus' name. I was with the families of Auntie Nike and Baba Tomiwa while I commenced the writing of this lecture. I want to thank these wonderful families for the enabling environment, the care, love, and affection showered on me during these months. My brothers and sisters from Unemenekwa, Akoko Edo local government area, Edo State, I thank you all for honoring me here with your presence today. Finally, I give all the glory, honor, adoration, and appreciation to God Almighty. I humbly acknowledge that it is by him that I have life and move and exist. My lineage is from him. It is by the remarkable grace of God that I am what I am, and by his grace toward me was not without effect. I say again, it is just by his grace and mercies that I am who I am and what I am becoming. Somebody say, grace.
Another round of applause for the inaugural lecturer of today. What a day. What an insightful presentation. Congratulations, man. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, we want to present this award of honor to Professor Grace Shokoya as the 94th inaugural lecturer of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. Congratulations, man. Professor Shokoya has carried out gendered constructions, but in FUNAB we carry out agricultural constructions. And so, on behalf of the VC once again, it is my honor and privilege to present the products of our agricultural constructions to the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor Grace Shokoya. What a great day. The inaugural lecturer has actually acknowledged virtually everyone seated here today. But permit me to just quickly, very quickly, recognize the immediate and extended family members of the inaugural lecturer, especially our own Mama herself, Mama Mercy Apaida. We recognize you, ma. And also to recognize the lover boy of the 21-year-old girl who is seated here today, Chief Emmanuel Shokoya. You're welcome, sir. I also like to recognize the academic family members of the inaugural lecturer, both from within the university and outside the university, especially the supervisor of the inaugural lecturer. I recognize you, sir. Let me also appreciate the presence of the former vice chancellors who are here with us today, starting from the immediate past vice chancellor of our university, Professor Felix Kolawole Salako. I recognize you, sir. The former Vice Chancellor of Augustine University, Professor Steve Afolami. I recognize you, sir. And his amiable wife, Mama Caroline Afolami. I recognize you, ma'am. The former Vice Chancellor of Glorious Vision University. I think it's somewhere here. Yes, Professor Abido. And also the former Vice Chancellor of Landmark University, Professor T.M. Palayaju. I recognize you. We also have some former Deputy Vice Chancellors here. Directly before me is Professor Chris Owuka. I recognize you, sir. And also his amiable wife, Dr. Linda Owuka. I recognize you, ma'am. We also have the immediate past Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic, Professor C.O.N. Ikeobi. You are recognized, sir. Let me also appreciate other distinguished guests who are here present. Professor D.A. Agbola, Professor Tolu Eniolaunda, she's somewhere there. Professor M.T. Ajayi, I think I also cited him, and Professor Sam Oluwalano. We also have the Royal Highness, the Luasho of Iberekodo here in our midst. Kabisi, we recognize you, sir. It is my honor to also now recognize all the students who are here, greatest Funabites. And at this juncture, we have come to the end of the 94th inaugural lecture of our university. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, the Vice Chancellor, Professor O.B. Kende, ably represented by the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Professor Olukayode Akiyemi. I'm trying to reconstruct myself, sir. And of course, I also want to acknowledge the presence of the acting registrar of the university now, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Morufat Daudu. How can I forget the bossa? A tale of two Kayodes, the one in charge of our post, Mr. Olukayode Oshinuga. Please pardon my earlier mistake. Just like the Vice Chancellor said, we have come to the end of the 94th inaugural lecture. But before we exit, here are some few announcements. The procession will exit the hall in reverse order. Academic staff will exit the hall immediately after the procession has exited through my right ear, the exit A, while the non-teaching or the non-academic staff, as the case may be, will exit through exit B on my left ear. External guest of the inaugural lecturer will exit the hall through the main aisle, or immediately after the non-teaching had exited will exit to conference room B. Students are to remain in the gallery. And then Funab Ambrek farmers, where are you, please? They are to remain seated in the hall. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my colleague here, Dr. Mrs. Oni, we want to thank you for allowing us to anchor this ship. And we say big thank you to you for coming. We take the anthems in reverse order. The anthem in reverse order. seats in reverse order, please.